What does it mean to truly revel in life? Once, not so long ago, revelry was the heartbeat of human existence, a sacred, intoxicating celebration of being alive. Imagine for a moment the ancient world, bonfires blazing beneath starlit skies, laughter echoing through untouched forests, music rising from simple instruments, and people, friends, lovers, families, moving together, unbound by schedules, obligations, or screens. To revel was to be swept up in wonder, to lose oneself in beauty, to become part of something beyond the self. It was sacred, transformative, and essential. But today, in the hum of the modern era, this kind of revelry has faded to a whisper. We have been taught to mistake distraction for celebration. Our daily lives are filled with conveniences and amusements, on-demand meals, endless streams of content, fleeting virtual connections. We are urged to indulge, but rarely to truly rejoice. The world offers us an abundance of easy pleasures, but not the deep, soul-stirring joy that comes from genuine revelry. The difference is profound, and its loss is quietly devastating. When we think of revelry now, it's often through the lens of consumption, not creation. Clubbing, binge-watching, scrolling, ordering in. These are marketed as escapes, but they are not liberations. They are not the wild, creative, communal experiences that once gave meaning to our days and nights. Instead, they are the products of a culture that has learned to suppress the very instincts that once made us fully human. True revelry is not about escape. It is about engagement. It is about sinking into the present moment, letting yourself be transformed by the beauty and mystery of existence. It is about exploring nature, walking through ancient forests, climbing mountains, feeling the rush of cold water in a wild river, or gazing up at a sky so full of stars it takes your breath away. It is about creating art, not for validation or profit, but for the sheer joy of making something new, something that did not exist before. It is about learning, not for the sake of a diploma or a job, but for the pleasure of discovery, for the thrill of understanding a little more of this vast, mysterious universe. Revelry is about connection, real, visceral, unmediated connection with others. It is about gathering with friends and family, singing, dancing, eating, talking late into the night. It is about falling in love, about making love, about surrendering to intimacy and vulnerability and joy. Sometimes it is about altering your consciousness through substances or meditation or music or movement, not to escape, but to see the world anew, to open doors of perception that are otherwise locked tight. This is the revelry that the ancients knew and that many cultures still strive to preserve. It is the revelry of the Dionysian mysteries, those sacred rites of ancient Greece, where citizens would gather to honor the god Dionysus, god of wine, ecstasy, and transformation. The Dionysian mysteries were not about drunken debauchery, as they are sometimes misunderstood today. They were rituals of transcendence, designed to dissolve boundaries, to unite individuals in ecstatic communion, to remind all present of the wild, divine beauty at the heart of life. Participants in the mysteries would venture into the wilderness, far from the walls of the city. There, through music, dance, drama, and shared sacrament, they would lose themselves, and in losing themselves, find something greater. The Dionysian rites were a rebellion against order, control, and repression, a celebration of chaos, possibility, and the generative power of the unknown. Through revelry, They touched the sacred. This same spirit echoes through time, resurfacing again and again in new forms. In the 20th century, it found voice in the countercultural movements of the 1960s and 70s. Nowhere was it more alive than at a Grateful Dead concert. For those who were there, these gatherings were more than just musical performances. They were communal rites, ecstatic journeys into the heart of being. People came not just to listen, but to become part of a living, breathing organism. To dance, to sing, to connect, to transcend the boundaries of ordinary life. The music was an invocation. The crowd, a congregation. The night, a sanctuary. The Grateful Dead understood something that many have forgotten. That revelry is not a luxury or a distraction, but a necessity. We need these moments of ecstasy and connection as much as we need food and water. Without them, life becomes grey, mechanical and narrow. We forget the wildness at our core, the capacity for wonder and delight that makes us human. But modern life has conspired to suppress these instincts. We are taught to be productive, not playful, to be efficient, not ecstatic. We are encouraged to accumulate, to compete, to isolate ourselves behind walls of screens and schedules. The rituals of shared celebration have been replaced by solitary consumption. The mystery, the magic, the sense of the sacred, these have been driven to the margins, dismissed as childish or frivolous or dangerous. Yet the yearning remains. It is there in the ache you feel when you look up at a sunset and I wish you could linger just a little longer. It is there in the longing for nights around a fire, for dancing without self-consciousness, for the kind of conversation that lasts until dawn. It is there in the urge to create, to explore, to learn, to love, to lose yourself and find yourself all at once. To reclaim revelry is to reclaim your birthright as a human being. It is to defy a culture that would have you numb and obedient. It is to remember that joy, wonder, and beauty are not optional. They are essential. It is to recognize that every act of true celebration is an act of resistance, a refusal to be reduced to a consumer or a cog in a machine. How do we begin? First, by seeking out nature. The natural world is and always has been the great teacher of revelry. Go outside, wander without purpose. Let yourself be humbled and awed by the vastness, the intricacy, the unnameable beauty of the living earth. Climb a mountain, swim in an ocean, sit quietly beneath a tree. Let the rhythms of the natural world awaken something wild and ancient in your own heart. Second, by making art. You do not need to be a professional or a prodigy. Sing, paint, write, dance, build. Express yourself not for applause, but for the sheer joy of creation. When you make art, you enter into a kind of play with the universe, a dialogue with mystery. You become a participant in the ongoing act of creation. Third, by learning for the sake of learning. Read books that have nothing to do with your job. Ask questions without worrying about the answers. Follow your curiosity wherever it leads. Learn a new language, study the stars, pick up an instrument, explore a philosophy. The world is vast and strange and beautiful, and every new thing you learn is a door to wonder. Fourth, by gathering with others. Find your tribe, your friends, your family, your community. Make time for shared meals, rituals, celebration. Dance together, sing together, tell stories, play games, make memories. These moments of connection are the glue that holds us together, the spark that lights the fire of revelry. Fifth, by embracing altered states, not as an escape, but as a way of seeing the world anew. This can mean practicing meditation or breathwork, losing yourself in music or dance, or, when safe and appropriate, exploring the responsible use of substances that expand consciousness. These experiences, when approached with respect and intention, can be doors to deeper understanding, to awe, to connection with something greater than yourself. Finally, by loving boldly, revelry is, at its core, an act of love. Love for the world, for others, for yourself. Open your heart. Take risks. Be vulnerable. Make love with intention and presence, not as a transaction or an escape, but as a celebration of life, a communion of souls. The world is hungry for this kind of revelry. We are starved for meaning, for connection, for ecstasy. The systems we have built are efficient, but sterile. They offer us comfort, but little joy. It is up to us to reclaim what has been lost, to revive the ancient mysteries in our own lives, to dance again beneath the stars. We can look to the past for inspiration. The Dionysian rites, the sacred feasts, the ecstatic festivals. But we must also create new forms, suited to our own time and place. Perhaps it is a potluck with friends, where everyone brings a dish and a story. Perhaps it is a weekend camping trip, unplugged from technology, immersed in the rhythms of the wild. Perhaps it is a drum circle in a city park, or a spontaneous dance party in your living room. Perhaps it is simply sitting in silence with someone you love, watching the sun rise. What matters is not the form, but the spirit. Revelry is not about excess or self-indulgence. It is about surrender, about allowing yourself to be swept up in the beauty and mystery of existence. It is about breaking down the barriers that separate you from others, from the world, from your own deepest self. In reclaiming revelry, you reclaim agency. You say no to a culture that would have you numb, distracted, and alone. You say yes to life in all its fullness. You become a creator, a participant, a celebrant. You honor the sacredness of your own existence and the existence of all beings. The path will not always be easy. You may feel awkward or self-conscious at first. You may encounter resistance from within yourself, from others, from the culture at large. But persist. The rewards are beyond measure. In moments of true revelry, you remember who you are and what you are capable of. You remember that life is not a problem to be solved, but a mystery to be lived. Think of the Grateful Dead concerts once more. The colors, the music, the swirling dances, the sense of being part of something vast and alive. Think of the ancient Greeks, gathering in the wild to honor Dionysus, surrendering to the ecstasy of the divine. Think of your own moments of wonder, the times when you felt most alive, most connected, most free. These are not accidents or luxuries. They are glimpses of what life can be if we have the courage to reclaim it. So, step outside, gather your friends, make art, learn something new, dance, sing, love. Let yourself be swept up in the wild, beautiful current of existence. Celebrate the mystery, the wonder, the sheer improbability of being alive. Because, in the end, this is what matters. Not what you own, or what you achieve, or how many likes you get on a screen. What matters is how deeply you live, how fully you love, how joyfully you celebrate the gift of existence. The world is waiting, the fire is burning, the music is playing, the dance has begun. Will you join in? Reclaim revelry, reclaim wonder, reclaim your place in the great unfolding mystery of life.